Alright folks, part 2. So I went ahead and laid out all the stuff that I'm going to be using. I haven't got anything apart. This is just pretty much all the parts, minus a few things that I might have to make a couple of runs for, clamps, that kind of stuff. So this is pretty much it. It's push lock hose, -8, which is essentially 3/8 hose, 3/8 ID. You can see how big that is. I mean, it's pretty good size. All the fittings that come with it, there's the 180-degree fittings, there's the 90s, the 45s, and then the straights, stuff like that. This is generally a setup of what it's going to look like. That's going to be right by the intake, and then my my fuel line is going to come out of my fuel pump, 1-8 line, and it's going to go into this fitting right here, and it's going to split off into two. These two ports right here are going to go here and then over here, and that's going to be the inlet side of the rail. So you're going to have equal flow and pressure going to each side of the rail, which is optimal. Then it comes back out the back side after keeping the pressure on all the injectors inside here underneath. And then it's going to go into these two lines. This is going to be close to where the firewall is, to give you an image. And this is an Aeromotive. The part number is, it's a X1. I don't know why it doesn't have the part number on the box. Oh, there it is, a 13303. And basically it's a 35 to 75 psi adjustable. It's got a 188,000 seat, which the seat controls the amount of regulated flow out of the return, which I need to look at the spec on that sheet to see if I'm going to have a lot of fuel being returned or not. May cause an issue, but we'll just play by ear and see how it works out. This is the return right here, so you're going to have both sides coming off of the rail, going into the regulator, and then it goes into the return what's not used. Now this is optimal setup for a return style system, because if I put the fuel pressure regulator before the fuel rails, I'm going to be restricted from flow from the orifices inside this. As of this way, when it comes in, it's going to have max flow, and this is regulating the pressure. If that makes sense, it actually backfeeds and regulates the amount of pressure in the rails before the regulator. So this is the way that, you know, the big horsepower guys run them. This is the way I'm going to try to run it. Hopefully I get good success out of it. Moving further over, this is the fuel pump right here. It's a 450 liter per hour Walbro fuel pump. This is, all of them are TI Automotive, which is, there's the part number out there, F900000267. You can look that fuel pump up on their website, and it is a legitimate fuel pump. What I'm going to do is that inside the bucket right now is another pump, say on this side, and this pump is going to be on this side, and we're going to tie both of those into this Y right here, and that's going to come out of this port, and it's 3/8 size, so you should be able to handle the flow of two of the pumps going to it. This one's going to go up through here. This is a barbed fitting that's going to have a hose that connects from here to here. It's going to have fuel injection style clamps, so it's going to be good. This is the bulkhead, so I'm going to drill a hole in the top of the fuel hat, and I'm going to put O-rings on both sides of this and tighten this up, and it's going to sandwich on the top of it, and that's what's going to seal off the fuel pressure and the vapors and stuff from getting out of the fuel tank. Then it's going to have a -8 on top like that, and then I'm going to take my hoses and I'm going to land those, and that's what's going to go all the way to the fuel rails, or what's going to go all the way to this, and go from 1 to 2. All right. Now the other bulkhead is the one that runs back from the return, and it goes into the top of this. Same setup. I'm going to drill a hole in the top of the fuel hat, and it's going to sandwich there with O-rings and everything like that. It's going to come down with another barbed fitting. That's a 3/8. I think that's a 3/8 -8 female to 3/8 barb, and I'm going to come a hose off to that, and then I'm going to take a MPT 1/4-inch MPT fitting, and I'm going to tap it into the bottom of the bucket to where it returns the fuel back where the pumps are going to be grabbing the fuel from, so I'll be able to keep that bucket filled up with the return fuel. Here is all of the stuff that came with the kit. That's the sock and the other fuel line hose and the wiring. I believe it's 14 gauge wire. This pump only pulls like 17 amps, I believe, maybe a little bit more in rush when it first turns on. So that's the fuel pump side of it. Now, moving over to the wiring side of it, the way I'm going to activate this whole job, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to have tunability for the single pump outside of this, and use the stock Ford fuel pump driver module to where I can keep that separate and just cruise around on one fuel pump. And then I'm going to activate it with a hop switch, which I bought from, I believe, Racetronics. And it's a normally open pressure switch that comes on at 2 psi. It's adjustable. There's a pin underneath here, or I think it's inside here, that I can adjust to make it even more sensitive. But I think 2 psi is going to be more than enough. Running 18 gauge wire, it only takes an amp to switch this on, so it doesn't pull a lot of current. And so I got another one just in case. I'm going to keep that one in the vehicle, and that should be fine for all that purposes. Now, as far as the wiring is concerned with firing everything, I have the wiring kit. I'll bring it out here. Sorry I didn't have it pulled out. I meant to pull it out, but I forgot. Let me grab it, and I'll set it over here. So this is the wiring kit. It's a painless. It's a fuel pump relay kit. What I did was I was concerned about the amount of switching on and off that the relay is going to have. And when you turn a relay on and off, there's a magnetic field that develops inside the relay, and it causes the voltage to go really high, and that's what causes the relays to burn out. So after doing a little bit of research and talking to some electrical engineers at work, I come up with a good solution that I think that will help. These relays are automotive schematically ran the same thing, where they have 4 and 5 pins, except in between, let's see if it'll focus, in between 85 and 86 there is a diode there, and you could see the triangle with the line across it. That means that the current flows one way, but when it comes back, the diode helps dissipate that charge, so it doesn't feed back to the contactors inside that relay, which is really good whenever, for example, you take off and you get into boost and it activates the relay, turns the fuel pump on, and then you start spinning real bad. Well, you have to let out of it, and then you get back in it, and then your fuel pump's coming right back on like within a second or so. So I just want to make sure that for the long term that this is a robust system. So I can't say that enough. I just want to make sure that anybody that buys this or tries to copy this or whatever, they're not going to get into something that's not reliable. And because I plan on daily driving this truck a little bit, so I want to make sure that when the fuel pump when I need to get on it and the fuel pump comes on, I don't want it to be running lean on me. Eventually, I'm going to run some kind of resistor off of the main feed line and get a red LED to pop on whenever the relay sends the current to the fuel pump to make sure that I know it's being activated. Besides watching my air fuel, which is not a good idea because by the time it goes lean, the motor can blow up that quick. So that's pretty much it in the gist of it. There's some specifics that I will cover once I do another video showing the installation. So the next video is going to be me dropping the fuel tank, which is really easy job, guys. I know a lot of people think it's a daunting task, but it's really not. You disconnect the clamp underneath the filler neck. You got 2 bolts that hold it with a sling around the fuel tank, and I can have it out in 30 minutes. I mean, it's no problem at all. You can use a jack if you want. Definitely make sure that there's no gas in the tank. Run it really low. The lighter the tank, the easier it is to work with. So that's it. I think that'll cover everything. Oh, one other thing too. I'm going to be installing this as well. It's a 2018 Ford Mustang GT manifold. Been ported already and polished. Not that the polish means anything, but it's been hogged out really good. I'm going to see if I get any kind of good results from this. I mainly just want to extend my RPMs in third gear so I can go through the traps in third gear. Hopefully I can. I don't know. It'll trap pretty good. So anyways, just let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. If you like the video, subscribe. I'm going to try to put out a lot more technical videos and answer questions and do feedback videos and stuff like that. So hopefully I can get some interest. Anyways, talk to y'all later.